Okay, it is 6 p.m. We'll call the meeting to order. We do have a council member who stepped in the back, but he is present, so here he comes now. So we'll stand and we'll do the pledge and the prayer, and Dr. Whaley will lead us in both.
Father, we just ask you to be with us at this meeting. We ask you to bless our citizens, bless all of our staff, bless the members of this council. Make us aware of your will. Make us servants of your will. Make us worthy of the blessings that you give to us. Bless us as we try to do the right thing for our county and our city. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item is approval of minutes from previous minutes, and these are the July 15th, 2025 minutes. If you've all had a chance to review, do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. At this time, we're going to give an administrative update by our interim city administrator, Mandy Cody. Mandy, are you?
Thank you, Mayor. I think that I'm causing the feedback. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'll try to speak loudly. Just to review, members of council, thank you for this. We began our work together back late April and identified several priority areas that we wanted to be sure to accomplish between that day, April 23rd and December 31st, which will end our part-time interim responsibilities together. By way of memory and recollection, those were managing human resource issues, submission of the city's 2023 and 2024 audits, preparation of the city's 2026 budget, conducting an operational assessment of the finance department, and continued implementation of standard operating procedures for tax licensing and permitting, as well as grant administration. Some updates. Your consultant was on site today working on the audit submissions for both fiscal years 23 and 24. Your work papers for the fiscal year 23 will be completed tomorrow and turned over to the auditor by end of business tomorrow. And we expect that the FY24 work papers will be submitted in September. The auditor has informed us that she needs approximately 6 weeks to prepare the actual audits and submit them to the state. So we are on time for our December 31st filing of both fiscal years for audits. Continuing in that theme, the finance department operational assessment, some of our current projects. Council, you may remember that you had selected and approved the hiring of a finance director at the April 23rd meeting. That person has been engaged and has come on board with us. She's been with us about 15 days now. We are currently preparing to advertise to fill an accountant 1 position. You may remember there is a vacancy in what you all previously called an AP position. We're revising that job description as well as the other positions in the finance department. We'll be posting for that. That AP position, there's really more opportunity than just AP in that role. So we'll be adding to it some general accounting, payroll processing, and things of that nature as well. Additionally, we are in the process of implementing a new system for our accounts payable system. You may recall that we added a module to our software that runs our finance department, Smart Fusion. That's going to allow us to code our expenditures appropriately and accurately under the Uniform Chart of Accounts, which will also allow us to provide budget reports for City Council and the public that will show not only revenues and expenditures, but also encumbrances, so you'll have more accurate information as to your spending and your budget availability. That's coming online now. That module has been installed on some of the original computers that it needs to be installed on, and we're implementing processes. So the city has a purchasing ordinance that has been approved, but that ordinance did not have necessarily processes built into it. So I've developed the processes, and we're beginning to train on those, and those will be implemented in the coming days with our new system. FY25, fiscal year 25, year-to-date budget review. I met with the team today. Just to break down, the financial consultant is working on the audit prep work papers for 23 and 24. The staff team is working on 25, and I'm really focusing on 26. So it's an all hands on deck approach. But our main focus in the current fiscal year of 25 is to reconcile our bank statements to our general ledger. So we want to make sure that all of the revenues and expenditures that are demonstrating themselves in the bank statements are also recorded in our general ledger, and that they are properly coded and allocated across the various departments. That's taking some time, particularly as we sort of unravel some credit card payments. So some of you have heard me talk about a lot of our payments come in online, and they come in through batches, and it'll be a big number that we have to kind of unravel and make sure that we are properly coding that payment not only to the right payor, but the right fund and the right department, and so that takes a little bit. So we're working on that. We're also working on our various charge accounts, the city's purchasing cards accounts, and our various vendors, Ace, Home Depot, Amazon, those kind of things where we make charges, to make sure that we're properly allocating those. So that's a big job. It's a big process. That's gonna take us some time to get through it. The moment, I do expect that we will have finished that by the end of the year, and I also expect that we'll have enough done that we can make reliable projections for our fiscal year 26 budget preparation, but I don't wanna understate the significance of that job and the time that it's gonna take. On fiscal year 26, right now, my focus is primarily on your personnel and pay scale research, making sure that we've identified all the positions that have been funded in FY 25 and at what pay rate, and preparing to carry those over for 26. Also looking at your revenue agreements, SPLOST, hotel, motel tax, and others. We do have an internal budget calendar for fiscal year 26 that we're working under at the staff level. Stay tuned for more details on that, and we have started training on our approach for fiscal year 26. It's gonna be a bit of a different approach with more staff involvement than we've previously had. Another of our identified areas of concentration is on zoning and permitting. You may have noticed an advertisement in the paper. We do have a planning commission meeting scheduled for September 2nd. This will be the first planning commission meeting that we've had in some time. There's one case, I believe it's a rezone case, as well as an ordinance amendment for building height that council asked for. Both of those things will be on the September 2nd planning commission meeting, and you have new members that have been recently appointed that will need to be sworn in at that time. We've also been engaging in quite a bit of standard operating procedure training for staff. We have some new staff. We have some staff that has taken on some new responsibilities in that permitting and licensing regard. We'll talk more about that in executive session, I'm sure. So we've done an extensive amount of training. And as of today, most recent counts, we have 1 building permit application that's currently under review, 2 demolition permit applications currently under review. And what that means is the applicant has submitted all of the paperwork that is required for us to review the application against the various city ordinances and state laws and regulations that we are mandated enforcers for. And the ball is in our court, so to speak. The clock is ticking. It is in our hands to review that application and then return it to the applicant. Now, we have a number that are in the applicant's hands. For example, they did not turn in all the necessary paperwork, or they have not paid their fees yet. And then we have 3 applications that are in what we call completeness review. So when the applications are coming in, we have a staff member who is assigned to actually review the application and all the material that came with it to ensure that it's complete, that everything that we need to conduct that review process has been submitted to us. If it is incomplete, we are not moving the application forward. We do not want to bog folks down. We do not want to waste time and resources on incomplete applications. If it is incomplete, then that individual, that staff member, is tasked with calling the applicant, contacting the applicant, and reviewing whatever remains outstanding. How does that need to come in to us, retrieving that, and then once it's complete, we move it forward and our clock starts. So we're really taking a lot of strides to pay attention. Is it on our clock, meaning it's in our ball court, we need to be reviewing it, the applicant has given us everything that we need, or is it in the applicant's hands? You know, they're missing some paperwork, they're missing a plan, etc., and we need to get that, and we're doing everything we can to notify folks of that. On the licensing, we've talked a lot about the backlogs for the 2025 occupational tax certificates and alcohol renewals. All 2025 alcohol renewals have been completed. Everyone that's selling has a license, or they have been dealt with in a different manner, or some folks have gone out of business, is my understanding. We do have a number of occupational tax certificates that have remained non-compliant despite our best outreach efforts by email, mail, and certified mail. So we'll be meeting actually this week while I'm here to discuss enforcement actions, which will probably end up with a summons to municipal court. Chuck and I have already discussed that, as well as the police chief, so we'll be moving forward on those enforcement actions here in the next week or so. Municipal elections is one of the tasks that we identified as a priority responsibility during these last few months of the year. As you know, it is qualifying week. We are currently accepting candidate qualifications and affidavits in the city clerk's office through, I believe it's noon on Friday. So we did release those qualifying periods, those qualifying packets. We have received several applications to date for both the office of mayor and council post. You are not qualified until the close of the qualification period, which is noon on Friday, and the election superintendent has had the opportunity to review your materials to make sure that you are qualified to run for office. So the city charter, Georgia state law has some qualifying standards. Those are being reviewed as they are submitted, so we anticipate that on Friday afternoon, sometime early in the afternoon, we will actually be posting a list of qualified candidates. We're gonna list those, we're gonna post that on the message board of City Hall and on the website. Okay, so that's going now. Staff training, I consider this to be part of the human resources responsibilities that we identified. I won't read those to you, but you'll see there's a very long list of classes that several of the staff members are currently enrolled in. Some of these classes have multiple staff members that are enrolled, so lots of training opportunities coming up, making us all. Oh, sorry, this one's recently completed. I apologize. The next slide is scheduled. So this slide is recently completed training that various staff members, sometimes more than one, completed. And this slide outlines a number of classes that several members of our staff are currently scheduled and enrolled in to complete. Mayor, with that completes my report. I'll be happy to take any questions from council.
Well, Mandy, I would like to say what an impressive job you're doing.
Thank you.
You're getting us back on track, and we appreciate it. I believe that, Jennifer, this may be my audio. Because every time I turn it back on, it starts this. Are you guys? Yeah. So sorry about that. Can you all hear me without? Okay. 'Cause I think every time I turn it on, it starts doing this. So does anyone have any questions for Mandy?
How long did we go without a finance director? We're just gonna write it in here.
He resigned last year, around this time. We were actually working on budget. He resigned in the middle of the budget.
So about a year.
About a year, yeah. So, we're happy to have Lisa with us. She's doing a fabulous job. Any other questions? We've been, I think Mandy and actually Chief Stewart have worked really well together in his new job as co-interim city administrator. And you're doing a fabulous job. He's really helping to keep things going, day-to-day operations. While Mandy is handling all of the extensive paperwork. Yes, so that, I think it's working out beautifully, and we appreciate both of you. Any questions? Anybody? Okay, if there are no questions for Ms. Cody, we will move on to approval of agenda or motion to amend the agenda. Is there either?
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Everyone in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item number 6 is discussion and first reading of alcohol ordinance amending requirements to renew alcohol license. If you recall, Ms. Cody mentioned this to us a while back, and this is one of the changes we have discussed to make the process much easier, much more standard, like most cities do. I think ours was a little overly complicated, which was one of the reasons we got to the situation we did with our new
may want to, at a later date, members of council, do a whole-scale review of your alcohol license and the licensing requirements and enforcement actions. This is not that, okay? Your alcohol ordinance simply states that all renewal applications every year are treated as an original first-time applicant. So the abundance of paperwork that we go through that first year, fingerprints, criminal history checks, not only for the applicant, but all of the partners in a business, the partner's spouses in a business, the financial paperwork for the company that shows the capitalization of the business, all of the seating chart for restaurants, the floor plans, all of those things were required annually. That's an extensive amount of work on the applicant. It's also an extensive amount of work on the staff. And that contributed to the backlog and the delay in being able to process applications. And as you may remember, the state can't approve an alcohol license on their side until we approve on the local end. So this ordinance revision simply proposes that we change renewal applications to stand on their own. They're not treated as first-time applicants. There's no reason to no longer be required that the applicant submit all of that original documentation. We will have a renewal application. It will ask for the pertinent information, essentially, has there been any changes in the partnership? Have there been any changes in the ownership? Has there been any changes in your resident manager? Has anyone associated with the license been convicted of a crime related to alcohol in the last year? If of all those things are no, then we'll be able to move forward very quickly. We've given you a few criteria on which the city administrator will be able to deny a license. So if there has been a violation, if there have been nuisance complaints, if there have been police calls, if there have been some problems with the license, then the city administrator would be able to deny the renewal license. And if that license is denied, then the applicant would have the opportunity to come to city council to appeal that decision and make their case as to why the application should be renewed. But it'll be a very abbreviated process from what it has been historically, and I think this will be easier for our businesses and easier for our staff and accomplish the same results.
Does anyone have any questions?
I assume we're hiring a compliance officer, code enforcement officer?
We are working on that, yes. I think we're
So-
actually gonna transfer someone over from the police department, not have a new hire. Is that right? Did I misspeak? Is the code enforcement officer coming from the police department, or is that a new hire?
No, it's gonna be the police department.
We've discussed this, I don't believe.
No, it's, I mean, he's gonna add a code for, I mean, he's already turned for, we're just transferring, high.
So he won't be associated with the police department in any way?
He's code for.
Okay, all right. And so he'll be able to come into some of these if there's a question on the alcohol license or something. He'll be able to come in and verify any problem that may be there. The code enforcement officer, he'll be able to do that.
Will code enforcement officer be able to address any ordinance violations with any ordinance in the city? Yes.
Yeah.
And then the police department will have an opportunity to review any renewals that have had issues in the previous year as well.
Okay.
Any questions? Okay. So that was the first reading. We'll have a second reading at our next meeting. Moving on to voting items, we have two voting items of discussion and consideration. One is a consideration of a motion to approve or deny a request from Tim and Jennifer Long for dedication of an easement on a city-owned property parcel BR 0045020. Are you guys, so are they here today? Mandy, would you like to give us a little background on that?
Mayor, I would suggest if they're not here, maybe we table this until the next meeting and let them address council with their request.
Is that, do we have a motion to table?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
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 Okay, so it will be tabled.
Or is postpone the correct word? Did I misspeak?
Table it.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question on that though. Is there gonna be, any, like, will they have to buy it, or, I mean,
So-
I mean, I know in the past, we've sold easements. I think some's been given up, but, I mean, what's the normal on that? I mean, to me, even easement has a value.
would be up to you guys and, to establish the term, if you were inclined to grant the easement, to establish the terms on which you would want to grant the easement if you wanted compensation. Typically in an easement, well, oftentimes in an easement, you'll have provisions with regard to maintenance. You may want to have limitations in terms of, what can be done with the property that's served by the easement. I mean, those kinds of things. But so yes, it's the short answer is if that's the wishes of the council, we could certainly, ask for compensation in exchange for the easement. It may be better, perhaps Mandy and I can talk to the people who are requesting and just get a sense for, exactly what it is they want, and, come back to you guys with I can draft something up, certainly, for consideration, in the next
Know what
meeting.
they want it for?
Egress and egress.
Just a driveway?
That's all that was shared with me.
Looks like there's
Let me
some
ask
potential.
this.
Yes, sir.
Is it feasible to sell that piece of property to them? Do we need to keep it? I understand that we're not using it. I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking a question.
Honestly, Councilman, that is not something that I analyzed, so I don't have a question, I don't have a thoughtful response to that question.
You do start it's one thing to grant an easement, it's another thing to actually dispose of property. And so there's a statute that governs how local governments can dispose of property. So it's not to say it can't be done, it would just be in a more involved process to do that.
Don't want involved. That's a good answer to my question.
And Chuck, if you will remember, we actually have another situation like very similar to this one that we probably should address at the same time.
Okay.
So, do you know?
I recall that, and I'll get with Mandy on it, and I think it.
Maybe just address them both at the same time.
Yeah, actually, I think I've discussed it with you. It's one of those things, though, if you look at the property on one of them, it's a city property that has a value, according to the tax assessor's office, and grant the easement, then it would devalue the city's property. I mean, you couldn't, if you just, they can't do anything with it because it's a small lot. So that was really my question. It's like, okay, if we do this for one, then how do we handle the next one?
Well, and let me clarify why this is on your agenda, because I think that may help. We received it at staff level. We received this request, hey, this is a city piece of property, can we have an easement on it? And what I explained to Mr. Miss Long and our staff is easements can only be determined by the council. That is not a question that we can respond to at the staff level. So I asked them to submit a written request that could come up to you all. So that's how it got to you all, is just due process for them, because easements are not any property decisions have to come to council, not your staff level.
And that is why I feel like it's best to table it as well, so that they are here to answer your questions in person.
Exactly.
Would all the easements be different, or would they all fall into the same categories she's talking about?
The easements, I would agree with Chuck, should be determined on a case-by-case basis, because they're gonna be peculiar to the property and the situation.
And, do you want the person who's getting the easement to have the ability to further subdivide the property, right? Or do you want it to be limited to just that particular, use of the property? I mean, I don't want to unnecessarily complicate it, but there are some considerations before the city decides to grant an easement. Not to say we don't do it, but I think we probably ought to look into it a little bit.
So it wouldn't set a precedence one way or the other?
No.
No.
Okay.
But it doesn't really seem fair, though, to let someone have an easement with no compensation and then require compensation from someone
I
else.
guess that's something we just need to discuss at some point, and let us look at, like they said, it's a case-by-case basis, really, so. Okay. The next item that we will be voting on is consideration of a motion to increase the compensation of election poll workers from $15 to $18 an hour. And of course, now that during this time, it's hard to get poll workers, so that is something that I support. I feel like that's something we really have to do. We are handling our own election, so I do feel like it's important to, compensate them fairly. Is there anything you'd like to add to that?
No, ma'am, we just anticipate this would be a an increase in total cost of about $1,300. So I would argue a negligible cost for critical assistance that's needed at this time.
Correct. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, let's have a roll call vote. Whaley?
Yes.
Angie?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
Christie?
Yes.
And Bill?
Yes.
Okay, motion passes. And next it will be public comments. If anyone would like to speak under public comments, you're more than welcome to please come up to the mic, and you'll have 3 minutes. And if you need more time, we can also grant you more time.
Thanks for letting me come out. I've got handouts to hand out.
Will you make sure your mic is on too, please?
Robbie, make sure that mic's on.
Thank you.
Jeff, you just sing something into it?
Thank you, sir.
Is it working?
That's the first time someone's asked me to use a mic, because I usually speak pretty loud. I'm with the local American Legion post here, Post 248. I'm their senior vice commander, so I'm here representing them. I'm also, my day job is a junior ROTC instructor at Mountain Area Christian Academy down here in Morganton. But with this Wreaths Across America, it's a international program that Union County's been doing for years, and I usually take my cadets down there, and we help put wreaths out on graves. We have a little ceremony, and as you guys know, this is a big veteran community, Fannin County, and so my boss came to me, my commander, and said, hey, let's get this started here. So that's what we're trying to do. Basically, it's on December 13th, where we actually have a little ceremony. I'm working with the school district. I've already met with Ms. Diller, the superintendent, and the high school and middle school principal to use their facilities to do the actual ceremony. And then we're planning on going to J.P. Chastain Cemetery up here, by the middle school. And that's where we're starting, because that's the biggest one in town. Over the next few years, we will expand out until we hit all of Fannin. So we're excited about that. The thing is, I'm just kind of letting the mayor and the council know that, just get the word out there. I'm working with the Chamber of Commerce to get this out, because there's Q codes associated with this. So when people go online to order these wreaths, I think you can order them in like a 1 wreath. I think it's 5, 17, something like that. We actually get $5 back to the local post here, to our Legion post, which helps with, our community projects we do, like Shop with a Cop. We give back to the schools. We do a lot of awards for the schools. So that's basically what this Wreaths Across America, it's number one, to honor the veterans that have came before us, and that's why we're all sitting here. I'm a veteran too, of course, many, many years. But this is a very important thing to not just me, but the Legion. And we're just trying to get y'all support and kind of just give you guys information, so when you see our flyers out in the stores, you'll know, oh, I know what's going on. Any questions for me? That was kind of short and sweet. I tried to keep it under 3. The packets are pretty self-explanatory. My number's on there if any questions come up. Miss Kay knows me, so she can get in contact with me if need be. It's a good thing for our veterans. One last thing, they always say, this is a comment that I've always heard and I've stood by, people can die twice. A lot of people are like, what's that mean? The first time you physically die, and the second time you die is when your name's forgotten. So that's why we do this every year. Like I said, it's an international thing. They do it at the American cemeteries at D-Day, in Normandy, France. They do it all over the world. So when we put these wreaths out, we actually stand back, salute, and we say their name out loud. Like Private First Class John Smith. So that's keeping their name going, if that makes sense. So that's kind of the tradition and the honor that we like to bring to this program. And like I said, we've never done it in Fannin, so this is our trial run, and I just need as much support as I can. I've got the chamber on board, the school district on board, and just to give you guys a heads up what's coming down. So it's a good thing to do, to remember our veterans. So,
I have a question.
yes, ma'am.
So is it,
who will be putting out the wreaths?
That's what I'm working with the schools for. Some of my cadets will be out there too, because that's a Saturday. I'm working with the middle school and the high school. High school's gonna give us their band, because we play all the service songs for each branch of service. And then we do a little, like I said, ceremony at the Arts Center, Performing Arts Center. And then we'll travel to JP Chastain. And so we'll have, and then anyone that wants to come out
Okay,
on
that's
that
what I was
day.
wondering, if anybody else could.
It could be, you know, a 6-year-old kid, it could be a grandfather, it don't matter. I know we got a lot of graves, we got 323 at JP Chastain, and then across the street at Harmony, I think we got about 40.
Yeah.
So those are the two we're starting with right now, and slowly work our way out. But it'll be open to everybody.
Yeah, Mr. Tucker's the one that helped with the flags with the middle school when the city did that. He really, anytime I've ever needed him or had any questions, he has always, like, I really commend you. I appreciate it, because what you do for our veterans community is, I mean, it's
Well,
very appreciated.
I like to pass all this on to the next generation, because we won't be here forever, and, you know, they're coming up in our footsteps. So the more I can teach them and instruct them, and the more maybe they'll be proud to be an American like I am.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense.
So my uncle died in Vietnam, and he's buried at the.
I saw,
Chastain Memorial.
yeah, right across the street, yep.
Yeah, we will be there. So I'll have my family come to that.
Yeah, I have a name of all the graves, and then the services they held, and then what branch of service they're in, just so, because I talked to the funeral homes, and they're like, oh.
You went out and counted them all.
And I went
didn't you?
out and, you know, walked up and down, counting them all.
Yeah.
And so, I don't mind doing that, because it means a lot to me. But you
Put me
guys have
down
different-
for one for George Fletcher.
All right. Well, there's Q codes, like I said, on those flyers, and you just hit that, and it goes to our Post 248 page, and then you order them. Like say, they're $17 a piece. We do have sponsors. That's what we're looking for, sponsors. Like I said, we get a $5 kickback to help with our community projects, you know, like educating the kids and all that. So it's a pretty big deal to us at the Legion. So. All right, any other questions? We're good? All right, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Okay, would anyone else like to speak? Anyone? Okay, we will, we're going to move into executive session in consideration of a motion to, enter into executive session pursuant to OCGA 50-14-1 for all matters properly excluded from Georgia Open Records and Public Meetings Law. No action will be taken during the session. However, council will return to open session during which matters may be voted upon. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we will enter into executive session.
Been working 7 days a week. Got wore out. That's Devil's. I bought a house.
Are we going, Marion? Yes. Okay, do I have a motion to come out of executive?
So move.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.